Good
Hello.
evening. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Beyond the Grave. I hope you guys enjoyed the videos and tune in next week for another show. How about that?
Oh,
No, that's not the way to do it. Anyway, Reggie.
yep.
Uh,
Show's over. Videos are played. I'm just
and
kidding.
anyway, I would like to go ahead and introduce a lovely lady from Texas, Victoria Mundae,
Hello.
who is a investigator, a author, and she does quite a few spots on a lot of the and very informative historical uh, platforms. She's been involved with Mr. Mike Ricksacker for how many years?
We did the show for 2 years and we've taken a year off and now we're back. So, math, I don't know.
It's amazing. You really add a lot of light to the show. I
Oh, thank
I
you.
think, and that's what's it was needed. I think, but and
I've
and
enjoyed doing it.
and you do an amazing job, and that's all that
Oh,
counts.
thank you.
But it's great to have you here. We wanted to go ahead and sort of really go ahead and bring a different perspective to the show because it's important to go ahead and spread the wealth on the community and
Oh, definitely.
show what some real quality people are from the state of Texas, and you're one of them.
Oh, you're going to make me cry.
No,
Just
I'm
as
not.
you started that, Toby walked in. So if you hear somebody going,
Oh,
Mom, it's my cat.
mom,
It's my cat.
mom. So
Mom.
what have you been up to?
5'8". I'm just kidding. No. I am in the paranormal witness relocation program. So I moved about this time last year to the middle of nowhere, Texas. So try and find me. So I'm just hanging out here looking for a new job, spending my time writing and playing with a kitty. And, hanging out with the girls, going on investigations. We seem to go to brothels a lot. Those are always
That,
fun.
that's a great place to go ahead and visit.
Well, it's where people went originally to have fun. And we're looking for fun, maybe not the same kind of fun, but but it's a great time, and there's so many of them because we're kind of like where we're at. We're basically on the edge of West Texas, and so it's all cowboys and Indians and shoot 'em up and wild brothels and jails and cemeteries and crazy places, and so it's a lot of fun here. So I'm having a great time.
Carla Norris, do you know who Carla Norris is?
She is. She's one of my besties. She and I and two
She
other
is.
friends.
She's on.
Um,
She's on here.
Aw, love you, Carla. She's got Southern Fried Chicken Paranormal or something like that. That's not the right name. It's
Southern Fried Chicken.
Southern Fried Paranormal, I think is her group. Sorry. It's Southern Fried something paranormal.
That sounds like Len Dorman's show from Chicago. He's in Arkansas now.
Oh,
But
okay.
Carla, it's Carla Norris. And then
Oh,
do you
she's
know TFT, Tarot?
Yes, they're my tarot reading friends. They do a great show. I mean, they're on YouTube, and you can find them on Twitter also. But they do free tarot readings every single day of the week, and Sunday is the best day. It's because that's when I join in and play along with them. But they're thank you, Southern Fried Spirits. I knew it was something. Yeah,
That's
and
amazing.
calories.
That's really great.
Yeah.
So over this last year, and we're in month number 7 already.
Ooh.
How many investigations have you done this year?
Um. Well, I live in an active house, so every day is an investigation here. Um, there's so many shadow people walking around. My dad passed about 2 years ago, and I've actually seen him here in my house and in the yard walking around in the garage 6 times um, since probably the beginning of this year. Don't know what he's doing here. And I live in a haunted town, so you can't even go to HEB without running into somebody. I go to the cemetery, and there's Confederate generals walking through. And, it's just they're everywhere. But as far as an organized one, maybe 4 or 5.
Wow,
So
that's good.
it's
Any
kind of hot. We don't go very far.
any real great locations?
They're all
or are they all great?
they're all great. We were this past Saturday. Not too far from Fort Worth is another little county called Hood County, and so there is a historical jail there. And I have a friend who's a volunteer there, and I recently found out you can rent it. I'm like, what the heck? Let's rent it. Let's have some girls in there, and we spent the night. Well, we were there till about 2:30 or 3 in the jail. We went in there totally blind. None of us knew anything about it. It's amazing what we picked up because my 3 friends, they're all from different groups. And then I went in, and they're more into the tech equipment type investigations. And I'm in there like, hey, I'm Victoria, and I start sketching, and I start getting names, and I'm just like automatic writing and sketching. I'm trying to work on remote sketching with my eyes closed, but it's like drawing with an Etch-a-Sketch. It's not really pretty, but I can get the details. So about the first 20 minutes we were there, I had about 5 pages of names, events, like drawing buildings and rivers and people, and they just kept coming in. And while they were getting their equipment set up, I was doing all that. And then once they were getting ready to do their stuff, I kind of walked off because, let them do their things. And I went and found the volunteer who was there watching over us for the night. And I said, hey, is any of this accurate? And he's like, yes. I need a name for this one. Yes. I'm like, okay. So later in the evening, because it was still over 100, and it was a cabin where the jail keeper and his children and family lived. And then they put the jail on top of it. So it's like a cabin, and then you go upstairs, and it's all limestone and iron. And it's hot. Man, it's hot up there because there's no windows or anything. They've all been boarded up and everything. And once we got a little too warm to go up there, we came back down and we started doing some essay sessions. And I was listening to them, and the names they were saying and the things that they were calling out were the same things I had written down earlier. So, that really, gave me a lot of validation. That's like, okay, so the things I'm hearing and seeing are accurate because they're picking up, later in the same evening, the same names, same events, same situations. And so that was just crazy. But it was
so you're actually going ahead and you're using your remote viewing and carrying it into your hands.
Yeah. There was one. We were downstairs, and the volunteer goes, I want you to go upstairs and tell me what you get. I'm like, I don't need to go upstairs. And so I just started thinking like, okay, this, and this. And he's like, yes. I'm like, okay, there's no need to even walk upstairs because it's hot. I'm stay down here.
So when you start writing, do you ever get a glitch in it, or it stops for a minute?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I sat down, we went to the coolest part of course, because it was still 100 degrees, even though we started, pretty close to 8 o'clock. It was still hot. So we were sitting there cooling off. I'm like, oh, okay. Michael, little boy, broken leg, Indian with dog. There's a well, there's a river with a crescent. And so I'm just writing all these things down. I don't know how they connect, but they were all events that happened in that area. So it was really cool. I've never done anything like that before, but that was really interesting.
That's amazing. And that's something that, a lot of people actually take courses to do one or the other, but not a combination.
Uh-huh.
So that really gives a lot of validity to what you're saying when you go ahead and combine the two. You know what I mean?
I always just thought it was me making things up like Michael. Okay, who's Michael? It's like before we started, and I'm learning more about me because I'm living here and I have a remote job, or had a remote job. I'm looking for a new remote job. I really don't know anybody in the area. So I'm thinking, okay, why did the universe tell me to come move up here? Because it was very loud when I came up for a Paracon selling my books. And they're like, you need to move up here. I'm like, okay. I've learned not to argue anymore. And I'm starting to learn more about me. And I've learned over the last few months that when I kind of lose my breath, like I did right before the show, somebody's here or something is here. There's an energy here that's not normally here. And so I'm like, okay, that's one of my tells. If I were to play poker, that would be my poker tell. Well, I do play poker, but that's not my poker.
You think they're there to help you? Or support you, in other words?
No, not really. I was talking to Andrea Perrin once, and she's like, you're a light. She said, you have the biggest, she called it a corona. She goes, you have the biggest corona I've ever seen. I'm like, well, it's also 105 and I'm bright red, so that might be a little bit of it. But she told me that spirits, souls, energies, whatever you want to call them, are attracted. And I've put my barriers up. Only love and above can come in here. There's nothing evil. I don't do the D word. I don't believe in evil. Well, let me rephrase that. I don't believe in demons. I do believe in evil. And I don't want any of that here. So I'm kind of like Snow White. I'm just always staying in a higher vibration, or I try to. And she said it's like a lighthouse, that when souls or energies or entities are passing through, they're like, oh, look at that. Well, that's a safe place. We can just go there. And so I've learned to work with them. I see them in broad daylight. I was talking to Carla last week. I'm like, oh, there goes a shadow, and it was like 3:00 in the afternoon. I was like, well, I don't know where he went, but he went down the hall, and they don't bother me. I don't bother them. So yeah, we live together.
Amazing.
If they would only pay rent, that's all I would really want, But,
you can't, that I don't think they can pull any money out of their pockets. Yeah.
not yet.
So, when you really look at the things that you do, and you go ahead and you look at everybody else, and I know you've already said that, this experience that you're going through right now is taking you leaps and bounds.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I understand what you're talking about. I don't think a lot of other people do, unless they have that opportunity to actually be a little, per se, cloistered.
Oh yeah.
May be the wrong word to use, but if you do use your gifts, and you can turn them on and off there too, right? So well, no, you don't think you keep them on all the time?
They're on all the time. That's probably why I don't sleep. Well, that and Toby keeps me awake. No, sequestered is the word I would use, because I moved up here and I didn't really know anyone. I mean, I knew people in this part of the state, but nobody really in the town. I don't have gal pals to hang out with here or anything. And shortly after I got here, I developed a mobility issue. So like my butt is parked in the chair, until I get it fixed. I'm like, okay, why am I here? Why am I not mobile anymore? I was like, oh, I think I was spending too much time looking outward, and I needed to start looking inward. So
see, Carol brought up the same question that I was going to talk about. Did you talk to the spirit that took your breath away to find out why they were coming through to you?
No, I think it's just letting me know that they're here. It's like a pressure change, like when your ears pop in an airplane or something. It's just like, oh, okay, something different's here. And I'm sure if they want to talk, they'll hang around.
I would find myself, I'd get up and I'd go in another room or something. I'd say, hey, can I have that chair? That kind of thing, because then it would be more on a one-on-one.
Yeah.
And they'd be a little more relaxed, but you're the lady of the house, so you don't have to say nothing. You just take the chair.
That's right. I'm not giving up my chair. There's only one in here, and it's mine. Well, there's two, but the other one's for Toby, and nobody messes with his chair. But a friend of mine asked me the other day. She's like, "Oh, you need to go." I would set up cameras. I would put. She's so sweet. I love her to death. She goes, I would put flour on the floor. I'm like, if I put flour on the floor, that's going to stay there for a while. Because let's be honest, I'm not sweeping and vacuuming every month. It's just me here. Every week, maybe once a month. That flour would be there on the floor for a while.
Was that a secret?
Yeah, and I told her, I was like, well,
no, I'm just kidding.
If somebody were to come over, I'd clean up. I told her, why? Why do I need to find out? I don't need to know everything. Some things you just don't need to know. Some things you just accept on faith, and you let them be. So I let them be. There are things I tried to find out. When I first moved in, my smoke detectors were going off. That's a whole 4-hour story right there. So I ended up doing a smoke alarm ITC to find out who the heck was, driving me crazy one night. Did
it actually work?
Yeah. I'd only been here because we were in this huge drought, and it hadn't rained, and I'd been here like 2 or 3 weeks. And it was starting to rain that night. And all of a sudden my smoke alarms went off. And I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure I don't have a candle burning. And I was running around looking for a candle. I came back in the living room and it was half filled with smoke. I'm like, oh no, you must have been hit by lightning or something, you know? So I'm running around looking for the fire and I come back in the living room and the smoke's all gone. Okay. So I call 911. I said, I don't think it's an emergency, but my house keeps filling up with smoke and it goes away. And then the smoke alarms are going off. And I'm like, oh, we'll come check it out. And so, I guess it's because it hadn't rained so long and the ground was so hot, everything flooded. So it took almost an hour for the fire trucks to get here. So thankfully nothing was on fire. So they went up in the attic and they were checking it out and they came down and they go, lady, you know, you got a hole in the roof? I'm like, no, I just moved here and I'm renting this house. I don't know. I'm like, oh yeah, you got a hole in the roof. So after they left, the smoke alarm started going off. And I was thinking it was my husband, you know, because he passed a long time ago. And I was like, okay, do I know you? Nothing happened. I was like, are you my husband? Nothing happened. It's like, are you somebody who used to live here? And he went, like, oh, okay. So this went on for like an hour. You know, I'd ask questions, I'd get nothing, or I'd hit the line of questioning. And like, finally, I figured out. It's like, did you want me to call the fire department to find the hole in the house, hole in the roof? And I was like, okay.
So ghosts don't like a lot of water either, do they?
I guess not. Oh, well, I think it was the person who lived here originally, because this house is about 35 years old or so. And there's always this smell of cat before Toby moved in. And then once he moved in, I started seeing shadow cats everywhere. I'm like, okay, so the person who lived here must have had a cat. So they find Toby. We're cool. We got the hole fixed, you know. So
the person that was there before you, was it a man or a woman? Is it a woman?
There's a lady that owns the house now. She's rather old. I don't know anything else about her. Yes, that's true. Well, no, Jamie Lynn, actually, I do talk to everybody, but we all know that.
I'm gonna make the comment. I talk to all of them I can.
Yeah. I'm polite. I'm like, excuse me, you know, I need to get to the fridge. You know, can you move? So yeah, I see him in the kitchen all the time because the way I have candles out at night and you can see the reflections and stuff, and the reflections will break and the shadows are there and they break the light.
That's so great to be able to communicate like that.
Yeah, until they start knocking. There's a lot of knocking that goes on here. I just thought it was the house settling, and I had a friend spending the weekend with me, and I was in here working, and he comes in, he goes, I just heard knocking in that other room. I'm like, yeah, it's a house settling. And he's like, no, it's not. I'm like, really? Okay, well, I don't know. It's either that or somebody lives in the attic. I don't know.
It wasn't pigeons either, right?
No, I thought maybe raccoons, but I don't know if raccoons always knock in 3.
No chance.
Yeah, they might get a haircut, but you know.
I want to go through the list here real fast and just mention everybody that's here because there's some real remarkable people here to me. Carol Garcia, Jamie Lynn Keller. We got Kimmy Corpse, Carla Norris, TFT Terrett, Lisa Myers, Anne Marie Young, Debbie Wallace Hagen, excuse me, Debbie. Lisa Alcott, Ghost Head Soup. We all know who Ghost Head Soup is. He's paying attention to what's going on tonight, you see. You could call that, right? That's Dean. And Dean's a great guy.
I'm going to be on his show in a few weeks, I think.
Are you really? That's awesome.
Yeah. I think it's this month.
He doesn't want me on his show.
Yes, he does. Well, we'll talk about you when I'm on there. How about that?
Oh, no. So everyone,
you were on there.
Huh?
You were on there. You were on there one time. I did it last year. You popped in, and you and Laura. It was just the 4 of us.
We had like a friendly little conversation.
That was fun. Yeah.
You know, it's always fun to go ahead and talk to people that we know. You know, without, you know, on the telephone, doesn't really cut it, and you know, it makes so much more sense. You know, and there's some people in here from Psychics Unite too, so which is a good group up here. especially up in Wisconsin. That's Scotty Rourke. You know Scotty.
Mm-hmm.
Scotty runs the group, and we have a local group of the people that do nothing, but we're all on the tube here, and the other ones are all in Madison at the live. And I think that's where you're at, Reggie, isn't it? Don't you do the lives out there in Madison?
Well, I'm in Madison.
You just sort of hesitated there for a minute. Are you okay?
Yeah, I don't ever get to leave Madison.
Okay, it looked like you were off a beat, like you were a second or two behind.
Oh, I'm always up to something. So.
Oh, you're working on something else? Holy crap. That's the worst thing we could have.
Or is that an AI, Reggie?
It is all AI.
Oh.
But anyway, there's Donna. Donna's on here too. And Bob Brunell. Donna's an amazing lady. And, Bob's a great guy. I like to talk to people and, give them compliments because, it makes people feel better. There's a lot of people that just go ahead and say, hey, you. Hey, Joe. And it's like, no, that don't cut it.
No.
It's and that's the way why I had said what I had said earlier, that's how I would do it if I were in your house.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and it's perfectly fine, but I might not be wearing any pants when I do it.
Nah.
I would have boxers on or something like that. I'm not saying what they're thinking right now there because there's people in here that are saying, there he goes. He started up again.
Well, I heard that Dean often does podcasts without pants on. That's just what I heard.
Dean picked it up. He caught it from me.
Okay. Yeah.
It's contagious. There's something a little really nice about the fact you feel a little freer when you're doing a podcast and with no pants.
Well, I just want to say right now I have pants on. I do wear a lot of dresses like around the house because it's just too hot. You go outside and it's 104. So, wear a lot of dresses around here, but I'm wearing clothing.
Well, you look great.
Oh, thank you. Well, this just didn't happen. Just kidding. It was hours of work.
So do you have any plans in the future of joining anybody on a podcast and doing another show?
I'm doing one now. No.
I'm saying besides that show or down the road.
Edge of the Rabbit Hole? We're doing that once a month now. So it's towards the end of the month on a Wednesday. The first month it was the third Wednesday, and then this month it's the fourth Wednesday. So I don't quite know what the algorithm is, but it's towards the end of the month. Personally, I think it's going to go to 2 times a month, but that's just me because, I hear things. But Mike says, no, just once a month. I'm like, okay, we'll stick with that.
Has he recovered from coming back from Egypt?
He's about to go again, I think.
Is he really?
He's posting stuff, or maybe it's a trip for next year, but he had a great time in Egypt. I think they went, I don't know when Egypt's summer is. I think it's close to ours. So when he went, it was just starting to get really hot, and he came back for like 10 days or something. And then he went to Ireland for 3 weeks or something, and he came back. He's traveling a lot. So
he came to Ireland to cool off, I guess.
I don't know. I mean,
you got a lot of breezes up there in Ireland. It's on the water. So compared to being in Egypt.
Yeah. Well, they were on the Nile. So.
So did he explain to you a lot about the Stargates?
No, I have my own theories, but
could you share that with us?
From what I was gathering, what they were saying, the Egyptian civilization existed before the Egyptian civilization. What we know, because the pyramids. I was taught in school the pyramids are where
way back from that.
Well, the pyramids in Giza actually are tuned to certain frequencies. And we had another guest on Edge of the Rabbit Hole last year, Sarah Adams, and she was saying the same thing, that the large boxes that they thought were sarcophagi really weren't. They are like regeneration chambers, is what she was calling them. And that you have to know the harmonics, and it's all about harmonics, frequencies. That's how they move the stones. Even Johnny Enoch showed they looked like big pieces of wheat, is what it looked like. But it had like little waves coming out, and then large blocks were being moved. And so if all of that is true, and and they didn't drag them on the trees and have slaves and build them up, but they just moved them because of frequencies, then why not have the regeneration chambers? And so the way the pyramid is shaped, and the way it's tuned, and the way the shafts are, it sounds like it could be a Stargate, that you have to be at a certain place at a certain time with a certain frequency, and have your e-ticket or whatever, and you can go to other places. So why not?
I noticed, and I watched and paid real close attention, because I think he's done a remarkable job with this.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
And his guide is the same guide he's had quite a few times.
Yeah.
And I think they went through maybe 6 or 7 different chambers in this pyramid, and he would go ahead and he would look up and you go, the emblem's on the up there on the door, on the edge of the door, and it says it's a Stargate.
Yeah, you see them everywhere. I mean,
right.
It's not just the pyramids; it's also in the desert Southwest. James Keenan's been doing great work out there, and he'll be walking along, like in the desert, and there's be all these pictographs, and there'll be a square one, and it's always a spiral, and so that's a Stargate. And I mean they're everywhere. But if you start thinking like Arizona, they have all the vortices over there. There's like the airport one, and then there's Bell Rock Cathedral or something like that. And there's another one. There's another one up a little bit further north. They have the same symbols. So there are places on Earth. And you're going to send me down the rabbit hole, Greg.
That's okay. That's okay, because you are so good at it.
No.
That's why I thought I'd ask.
There are, if you get a map or get a globe, and is it longitude that goes up and down?
You got the ley lines.
Well, it's not even the ley lines. It's, if you look at the globe and look at 105 degrees, between 105 and 103 degrees, there's all these sites of power from the prehistoric world that line up. There's like Choco Canyon, and there's some other Mexican sites of power, and then you go up into Central America, and then they're like go through the desert Southwest. How, thousands of years ago, how did they know to line these up on that certain line? And then if you take like all the energy points of the Earth, and draw lines together, those are the telluric points, the telluric lines. That's what makes up the ley lines, because the ley lines are the real pretty, the pretty designs. So you like Rosslyn Chapel and all that stuff in England, that lines up on that. There's a huge ley line there. Those are all sites of power. So even the American Stonehenge lines up with Stonehenge over in Europe, and there's like another point it goes through. So if you were to line those 3 points up and put a ruler there and draw a straight line. Yeah.
Now is like I can't think of the name of it right now. The temple that was moved from because it was going to be flooded out.
Oh, Göbekli Tepe in Turkey.
No, in Egypt.
There's another one.
It's the one that's got Ramses on it. Ramses is second, I believe. But anyway, they had it was done by UNESCO, United Nations Educational and Scientific Cultural Organization, and they actually moved this whole temple up where it would be out of the water.
I didn't know that.
Because they knew it was going to flood. So now my point was, like we were talking about ley lines and longitude and everything else, there's so many there's been so many temples, especially the Egyptians, that have created them. So they'll have four different chambers from the entrance.
Mhm.
And then they'll have one face of either a god or one of the pharaohs at the far back end of this. And there's only one day out of the whole entire year that the sun shines all the way through that. And it's a big building.
Yeah.
And shines right on them.
Mhm.
And I found that's how I picked up some of that stuff, but I'm not as, at it as you are, as far as, the real meaning behind it. And then you go from that to the UFOs.
Oh yeah. Don't get me started on UFOs now. Well,
Yeah,
it's
but
not
I
just
mean,
me,
aren't
but
they, don't you think they're all interconnected?
they are. Because how else can you align that? I mean, Stonehenge, I mean, you have, okay, on this day it's going to hit here. Did they have to like hurry and build it? Or, did they have to wait every year? Like, okay, it's going to come in 3 days. So let's hurry and finish it. Or, I mean, there's some mathematics that they know. There's some other intelligent guidance, perhaps. Paul Anthony Wallace has written now I think it's 4 books now. I'm not sure. It's called the Eden series. It might be 3 or 4 books. I can't remember. But it talks about, and he was a minister. I think it was a Catholic minister. And he, spread the gospel for years. And then he decided he was going to reinterpret the Bible literally. And so he took the word angel, and the word angel actually means agent. And so the fallen angel coming down from the sky was a fallen agent bringing the messages, and so it just makes the Bible alone, have all these extraterrestrial connections. And it, the word, and I don't know all the words, and I'm not going to even try and say them, but the word for God in the Bible is like Yahweh or something. It's a plural word, so it means more than one God. So that could be like the extraterrestrials somewhere out there. It opens up, for me, it would open up Christianity so much more. It's not this little encapsulated world. It's like the entire universe now. So once you start reading that, and the whole Bible just takes on a whole new meaning. So he does a lot of interesting work. And even in Ireland, I think they're called cairns. They're the big round above ground, and they're round, and they have like labyrinths and stuff and go through. Light will shine in on a certain day and hit certain spots on the wall.
Carol Garcia actually mentions the name, and it's Abu Simbel.
Okay.
And that's the temple.
Okay, because there's one
relocated.
Because there's one in Turkey, Göbekli Tepe.
Yes.
I think I'm saying that correctly.
And there's a giant there's a pyramid there too.
They covered that up. They backfilled it.
But didn't it at one time have a giant globe on it, just like what they say the pyramids did too?
I think so. But they knew the flood was coming. They backfilled it. So how are you going to know the flood is coming? I mean, there's all these different cultures that were never connected because of geography at that time. They all knew the flood was coming, and they all did things. The Hopis, how many times did they move? 3 times, I think. And they had different, what do you call it, villages. So the Hopis moved. And if you were to look up and look down to see where all the Hopis have moved to, they actually match the pattern of Orion, So it's like they had the different worlds. Like I think they said we're on the 5th Earth.
Right.
Because, the Earth has been destroyed so many times and it comes back. And so, I mean, how do they know these things? Somebody's got to be telling them, like, hey, come on, guys. Time to scoot. So
you see, that's why we have Victoria here, and I'm going to answer one. It's like, I'm like suffering from a brain fart because this is the last show I do before I go on vacation.
You're thinking about fishing.
And I leave Friday, and I'm going muskie fishing, and then I'll be back, and then I go to Wisconsin. So
that sounds fun. I'll be here.
But I'll have my whole clan with me then.
Oh, that'll be good. So you've got fishing on the mind.
No, up there when we're in Wisconsin, it's just, Papa, can you put another worm on my hook?
Papa, can you take my fish off? It's wiggling.
That's what I do all the time. Reggie, do you do that a lot?
Do what?
Go fishing?
No.
You don't feel you better come into the conversation a little more.
Oh, I'm enjoying myself. It's like I'm watching a podcast.
Is that what this is called?
Well, I love when I'm listening to somebody that sees eye to eye with me on a lot of things, and I just from a different perspective.
It's just fantastic.
But it's the same perspective at the same time.
Well, Reggie, you know what you need. And Greg, you might need some if you're going on vacation. You might need some paranormal activity.
That's is that yours?
That's mine. I have a tea line now. So, but it's only when I'm at events or stuff.
Is that on your page?
Nah. That's like a bonus.
No, really. Maybe some people are interested. How do they get a hold of some?
It's like when I go to a Paracon or an event or something, I just have those like, hey, you want some paranormal activity?
What kind of tea is it?
There's a really good one. It's mulled wine. So it tastes like mulled wine but without the booze. I have a fairy dust, which is like cinnamon and vanilla. I have one that's it's very pepper forward. It's a lot of people like that, but that's not my cup of tea. That's not my cup of tea. And I can't remember the other one, but I can get different flavors and stuff. But I'll send you some if you want.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, but if you like tea.
Oh, I drink tea. You see this?
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's got tea and lemon in there. You see the
Oh, there you
lemons
go.
in there.
I drink.
That's all I do all summer long. That's the only thing I drink. Unsweetened iced tea and lemons.
yeah.
I'm all about.
I love tea. Yeah. Well, I love tea in the wintertime. I like hot tea. So it's too hot right now to drink tea, unless it's iced tea. But
It really does wonders for your stomach too, compared to coffee.
oh yeah, it's well, it has more caffeine in it, I think. Because I know when I was pregnant, I asked my doctor, I was like, okay, well, how many, because everyone got on me because I drank soda. And they're like, well, how many cans of soda can I have a day? Like 1, 2? And he goes, no, you can have 30. I'm like, well, how much coffee can I have? And it was 3 cups. So I was like, okay. So I had a glass of tea one time and I was like, So tea is way out there for me, caffeine wise.
Wow. Yeah, I go through one drink after another. Yeah.
But he's up all hours.
I am too. Somebody was calling me at 7:30 this morning. I don't know who that was, but I was like, I just went to bed. I'm sorry.
I apologize. I
That's
really
okay.
do. Then I thought when I got done and it was because it was going to be on here. I
Yeah.
think. And I thought when I got off, I thought, wait a minute. Vic's all the way over in Texas. They're like an hour or two behind us.
No, I don't go to bed till about 4. You can ask Carla if she's still here. Because I don't text people because usually the phones will make a ding or something. And if I'm up at 3 in the morning, I'm like, oh, I need to tell her something, and I'll send her a text.
Was it did I try you at first on Messenger or was it?
No, it's Messenger. No, I saw it and I was like, what time did he call?
Oh, just go
It
away.
doesn't- No, Messenger doesn't buzz or make a noise or anything on my phone. So when I wake up, I look at it. I'm like, oh,
It's that damn Greg Cost again.
who's calling before noon?
Put my phone in a bucket of water.
No,
We'll
I need
fix
my
them.
phone.
We'll fix them. That's the way to handle that.
I kind of stopped fishing because I don't ever keep them.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want somebody to hook my mouth just for fun. So I
Reggie,
have sympathy for them, and I won't do it to them.
Reggie, I don't keep them either. The big ones, they all swim away. I get a bigger kick letting them go than actually catching them.
And as far
And
as
I talk to them just like they're.
oh yeah,
you know, and they
And
respond.
another, I'm kind of off in different directions. I apologize. Another connection to the universe versus the Bible. Jesus was a Sirius starseed master, and the wise men followed the North Star to find him. The North Star is the Sirius sun. It's actually the Sirius sun. And that was something else that I thought I'd bring up, in connection to the biblical stuff,
Did Mary know that?
Mary? Well, she was a Sirius master too.
Okay.
Starseed master.
Okay.
So was Mary Magdalene.
I think Mary had her fingers in a lot of other stuff besides being a starseed.
So how do you know if you're a starseed, if I can ask? I mean, because I hear different things. So
I'm not real clear on how I figured it out, other than the fact that I got so much fluent communication through the SB7. I've heard everything you can think of through that, like them talking to each other. I would turn it on. I used to just turn it on and I would record it without me being able to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
And I could hear them talking throughout. When I listened to it the next day, they're talking throughout the entire night. Spirit would come in. They would say, "Is Reggie here?" And one of my guides would say, or one of my star family would say, "Reggie's dreaming right now," or "Reggie's sleeping right now." Let them know. I've got.
You recorded that part.
I can find the video. I had Madeline, or one of them, I think it was Madeline. I had a Connect Cam hooked up at the same time I had the white noise hooked up while I was asleep. And she made the comment, some sort of entering through the Stargate. You were talking about Stargates. And at that precise moment, I saw a round, like the green stick figure things. It popped up like round and then shot straight towards me to the couch. At the moment, she said, "I'm entering through the Stargate."
wow.
And so, I might be one of those. I don't know, but they all seem to.
You may not be here tomorrow.
And I'm that light too. You were talking about being the light.
Mm-hmm.
Second I turn equipment on, they're all coming forward.
Reggie's one of those people that it's an honor and it's really an experience to work with him in the cemetery, because I just stood back in awe and I couldn't believe what he was doing, because he was actually working he actually was working row, and then he come back and he worked the next row. If he had comments that came back to him, he was picking them up and recording them. Him and I got to the first stone in the cemetery. And this is the truth. The truth. The person's name was Riordan. Okay, and I'm going to pronounce it right now, but I call it Reardon.
Right.
So Reggie's going by, and all of a sudden he goes, "Oh, good morning, Mr. Riordan." And what I have to say is to Reggie is, it's Reardon. And it came back to us, or to Reggie, and said, Riordan.
Get it right.
right here, matter of fact.
Yeah, you don't mess with his name.
Right here. First stone in the cemetery.
If you guys could give me your first or your last names. Riordan. Hi, how are you doing?
I don't think.
Very nice to meet you.
That's a small cemetery.
That's
and
impressive.
that's been around for quite some time. You didn't hear me because I don't need to hear me. I know what I said to him, and
Yeah.
I know that I was corrected, and it was just amazing. And that's how we started out together. And
That's cool.
he just does some amazing spirit box work. I
Well,
wish
you need,
I
I'm
huh?
sorry. I said, y'all need to come visit here because we were doing Southern Fried Paranormal. I've already forgot our group's name. Carla's group. Was doing our podcast last week, and we all had earbuds in, and we were in the green room. We hadn't started recording yet, and Toby was sitting next to me because he's my life partner. He goes wherever I go, and we were just looking at each other, getting ready to go live, and there was this disembodied voice that just said, "Blah, blah, blah." And we all look at each other and said, "What was that?" And since I had my earbuds in, you can't hear coming from my computer. Toby runs out the room, so I'm thinking it's here. I don't know, but it was kind of creepy and it was kind of breathy, and it definitely was not English. I don't know what it was.
It wasn't Southern Fried Chicken Paranormal, was it?
No, that's what I called it. Southern Fried Spirits Paranormal, I think.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Southern Fried Spirits.
And who was that? That was Carla.
Carla and her other two. There's three of them that do a podcast together, and so all four of us were there, getting ready to go live.
That's something that Dean Thompson needs to take into consideration for when I go over and we go over to visit him. He's got one of those Odd Fellows clubs by you.
Yeah.
Now, the other day, I just saw in Missouri, the other family is Katie Stafford and Katie from Supernatural Inc. And he's a box builder, and they were at an Odd Fellows club. And my question to them was, did they have a real body there? Because the one that Dean has, hey Bob, is actually got the real thing in there.
Wow.
And they said that it's been in there for as long as that Odd Fellows Club's been there. And I says, how did that happen? Does this come out of a mortuary or something where they don't have a name on them or something, and this way they sort of give them an honor?
Yeah, or maybe he donated his body, or.
But it's if you look it up, it's really fantastic how it's not really an offshoot to the Masons. They all have the same basic character or beliefs, but they have like giant chairs on both sides of the room, and then they have a big chair in the front, and then they have another big chair in the back of the room. And it's like, you keep on doing one of these on a paranormal investigation, trying to figure out who's going to come out of one of those chairs.
Yeah.
But it's really fantastic.
Is there more than one Dean with the same name?
There's two Dean Thompsons.
Where's the one you're talking about from?
He's from Illinois here.
Is it like Alton?
No, that's the other Dean Thompson. That's the one that's south. Dean Thompson that I know used to be up here in a little town off of 173, which is right off the Illinois-Wisconsin border, because I live basically the same place, only east of him. And then he moved a little bit south, and then they found this Odd Fellows Club, and they called that their lab. That's where they conduct all.
Okay, I've heard of the lab.
You heard that too.
Yeah,
so I'm not throwing anything out there that people they haven't heard before, because he's going to probably call me up at the end of the show and want to. Dean's a great guy.
He is. I love him to death. And I said, "Can I come to the lab?" And he said, "Nope." It's like, I really want to come to your lab.
And that's where it is. That's what it is.
Okay.
But don't let the secret out to anybody else, and anybody else in here that's in the comments section. You can't share that with anybody. That's top secret information,
Yeah.
according to Dean Thompson, and I
Yeah,
have
they
to
keep
enforce it.
They keep the alien bodies there.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the ones that were in Roswell, they went up to Illinois somewhere, didn't they?
They walked up there.
No, they didn't. Well, Reggie, have you done CE5? Because that's something I'm really interested in. I want to pursue that.
You're gonna have to explain what it is.
Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind,
Oh, okay.
where you
No.
do the meditation and you call them in.
No, I don't think so. I don't know what you would call it. I mean, I do a lot of. Man, I don't know whether it's astral projection or if it's remote viewing or what it is, but I'll close my eyes and I'll be completely awake. But a lot of the times I do it when I lay down, and then a window will open up, and I'll be somewhere, or I'll be seeing somewhere else, and I see movement, and I see. Sometimes it looks like the hallway in a spaceship. Sometimes it looks like a lot of the times, because of all the stuff I do or try to do, like cold cases and things like that, a lot of the times I open up to like an area that I'm not familiar with, and it might be out in the woods, or I might be in the sky looking down at like people beating each other, and like, a beating or something. I'll be witnessing something that I'm not aware of where it's at or who it is. When we were on our way to Illinois, I could close my eyes and do this, and I could see the traffic ahead of us. I actually was over the car, and I was looking down, and I saw like a white truck turn right in front of us, and I opened my eyes, and there was the white truck. I was like, wow, man, So I don't really know what I'm doing. But I'm getting better at it, whatever it is. And so
I think there are more of us doing it, and we don't know what the heck we're doing, but we're perfecting it and we're getting better. Because you're not the only person
I don't really know a lot of the proper names to call anything. So 90% of the time when somebody's talking about something, I'm like dumbfounded on what they're talking about until they describe what it is, and I'm like, oh yeah, I've done that, or I do.
I heard a long time ago, you never ever make fun of someone who mispronounces a word, because that just means they read it, so they're educated through books. So that's me. I read words and I don't pronounce them correct, but or I don't remember the words.
I haven't heard of half of what's being said if you use the proper lingo. You know what I mean?
Right.
A lot of the time. And it's funny because I talk to Greg about this stuff too. We talk about like even all the people that are out there. So do you know so-and-so? And I'll be like, nope, never heard of them. And it might be somebody like world renowned, and I've never heard of them,
Yeah.
But I've heard of them.
Right.
I mean, there are certain people that are untouchables to some, and I find that hard to believe in the community, that there would be people in the paranormal community that you can't get to do an interview or something like that, which and I'll go ahead and I'll say to somebody, hey, can you drop a word for me, to so-and-so and that, and it'd be like, it's not going to work.
Well, some of them are really, really, really busy, jam-packed. And
Right.
then other ones, because I've met a lot through Edge of the Rabbit Hole. I've been very, very blessed for that. And I don't know if I was supposed to keep in touch with them or not, but I did. So pretty much every guest we've ever had, I stayed in touch. I'm just going to bug the hell out of them until they answer me. And there's super sweet people. And they're like, oh, yeah, it's you again. Yeah, you're that.
I don't mean it. I don't mean it to be used harshly.
Mhm.
It was just matter of fact the way what I've experienced. But there's actually only really been one.
Yeah.
But what's one? If there's one, then there's got to be more, and I just haven't got to them yet. You know what I mean?
Well, don't give up.
No,
So
I don't give up on that. That's part of why we're here.
yeah.
We have to knock. We had a knock on your door. We had the sign and it said, "Victoria, please come on the show." We had the
Here
band
is
that
your
went
fruit
by.
basket.
And you had more than a fruit basket. I think you had a weekend in one of those places where you go and you get all the massages and all the
I
what is
want
it, cucumbers and
on the eyes.
the face masks and everything else. And then
Yeah, I
you
just
get
call
it
that.
all,
That's just Wednesday to me. I'm just kidding. No.
and you get the real crazy looking slippers to bring home with you and the robe and everything.
Man,
Yeah.
that's my dream vacation right there.
Well, we're not going to share it with everybody, you know that.
No, I get the little kitty massage at 3 a.m. It's just Toby and I. And when I talk to him like he's a person. Well, he is a person. You know, he's more people than some people I know. Anyway, he got very sick because he's a very sensitive, very intuitive cat. And this town is freakishly haunted. And I think the stress of moving and leaving his 4 brothers and sisters, and then all of a sudden he's up here and he didn't know what the heck's going on. And he got really sick and almost died. And he couldn't jump on the bed, you know. And so I went and bought steps for him. So now he has his own private staircase to get on the bed. But
we might be doing one sometime soon for our boy here.
yeah, well, it makes a world of difference until it's like 3 o'clock in the morning and he runs up there and goes, "Mom!" and it shakes the bed and scares the daylights out of me. But he walked up there quietly one night and he had his bag of treats in his mouth and he just dropped them on my head. You know, and I'm not expecting something to come falling on my head in the middle of the night. So I don't even know where we were going with this, Greg. I don't know. Sorry.
I don't know either.
People, no.
Our boy's 20 in August.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, and so he's got some back leg issues. He still tries to jump onto everything, you know, and he makes it most of the time, but
just get the stairs. There's so much.
Yeah. I'm gonna build him a bunch of skeeter ramps. His name's Skeeter.
That would be fun.
Get him a little sidewalk surfboard. There.
Let's make him a TV star.
Oh, yeah, Toby's down here hitting me. So
Carol said CE5 is what's being taught by Dr. Stephen Greer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's an app that you have to pay $10 for on the phone. I don't know if that's really accurate or not, but basically it's a meditation.
Look at
Oh,
Yeah.
hey, buddy.
He's a TV star. Oh,
he disappeared.
there he is. He's like, "Why did you wake me?"
Oh, Toby's down here going.
Oh.
He's down here, baby. But animals are good.
Would you like to do a session?
Yeah. I am in the boonies, so I have to kind of like stick my SB. What do I have? SB 11, like really close to the window. But one of the things I realized this weekend, because I don't hear that well, you know, I worked in TV for a long time and I had everything cranked up, you know, and I can't hear. But it's not so much the words I'm hearing, it's the words I'm hearing. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Right.
So that's
so
what I'm doing.
You're basically channeling.
Yeah, more or less. Channel surfing.
So everybody in here, most of the people know the what we do, our little method of the madness. And we start out by saying a prayer to St. Michael, just for protection for everybody in here. And St. Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle, be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray, and do thou, O Prince of the heavenly host, by the power of God, cast into hell Satan and all the evil spirits who wander through the world, seeking the ruin of souls. Amen.
Now,
Well, we can go.
I
If
don't
you
have I don't have a blindfold because I have makeup on, but I can look down.
You want a cigarette instead?
I have virgin lungs. I don't smoke.
No, I meant the blind.
French-born Legion. I know. I got you. But I was gonna say, can you send me a message or something to let me know when to stop? Because
Yes,
okay.
but I'll be with you. So Reggie would have to send it.
Well, Reggie and I are friends now.
He's going to have to send it to both of us.
Okay.
What do you figure? 20 minutes or 15?
I can go all night.
Oh, okay, let's do 20.
Okay.
Normally on the show we do 25, but I think that's I don't want everybody. Somebody's name isn't showing up again, Reggie, and
Yeah, I see that.
And then there was something else up here about Donna wasn't getting some star or something she was supposed to be receiving
I don't know.
on the chat. I think there's some sort of charge. So
Oh,
I'm going to take these off a minute.
Okay. Changing out your microphones so I can no longer hear you.
so I'm to Facebook message you guys.
Yeah, just send me a message.
You know, when you go to get some of these, all you got to do is go like to Walmart,
They mess
And
up my makeup.
and you get a whole thing of them. There's like 6 of them in there with different sayings on the front. So depending
Pineapple pizza only.
depending on what Toby wants to do, you can have one that says, "Toby, leave me alone."
I would never say that. Toby has a disco now because he's an only cat. So
Disco this and disco that.
I created a cat disco. Flashing red lights and everything, and he chases them and runs all over. And
So we'll take questions from the chat, and Reggie, if you can monitor that, and just if you see one, just go ahead and ask the question.
It might be for a different show, but I got kind of an idea. If we do like an Estes, I could actually turn my spirit box on out loud and have my guides ask the question.
Okay, do that.
Well, I don't know if I want to do it tonight, but I mean, I could, I suppose, because I'm sure they converse back and forth, but you might not hear them in real time.
It's up to you.
Yeah, it's a thought.
I think I'd bring the chat in to participate. For right now, I'm going to go ahead and get mine ready to go, and we'll
when I
do it.
take my earbud out, I can't hear you anymore. Then
We'll do it. We'll do it like in 1 minute. We'll start.
okay.
Tell our thumbs up. Ready, Freddie? Oh yeah.
I'm referring to the spirit with Greg
Party.
and Victoria. How are we doing tonight? Is everybody okay?
Peanut butter.
You like peanut butter? Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm excited.
Kurt,
How many are with
Turn
Greg?
it on.
How many spirit are with Greg right now?
Can you feel it?
distance.
It's not me. The room.
How many are in the room?
Nancy.
States.
Can you
Look
give
it
me
up.
your name?
Gypped.
It scares me.
What scared you?
The two.
Who's with Victoria right now?
Push it.
If there's anybody in the viewing audience right now that
We're
has a
talking about
question,
that.
just type it in. If there's a question they'd like to ask, that you'd like to ask. How many are here with us right now?
You're
About time.
About time. About time for what?
They love us all.
mm-hmm.
Where does spirit live?
They're here.
I guess.
They're here.
Goosebumps.
I missed it.
It's about time.
What did you miss, and what is it about time for?
Nice.
I'm here. In a minute.
Who is with Victoria?
Clean it up.
And
John.
was there some sort of birthday party?
They are here.
I'd like my star family to go.
Nancy.
go to Greg and Victoria, please, and help them to
And
talk.
not in the distance.
Help the spirit to talk that's around Victoria and Greg.
Quite close.
Did I hear Nancy or Fancy?
Hang on.
Hey, hang on, they're on their way. Nancy,
I feel it.
are you
Not
doing
a freak
okay,
show.
Nancy? Are you all right, Nancy?
They all love us.
My star family should be surrounding you.
They're angels.
That's right.
Yule.
How many are with Greg?
Don't like the word.
Stephen.
Hard. Very hard.
So is there a
Good
Nancy?
talk.
Nancy and Stephen both with Victoria?
You see them now?
You should see them.
It's not date night. Pretty slim.
Is there somebody afraid?
Hoppy, can you help them?
Beep beep.
Are you the one that set off her fire alarms? Did you set off Victoria's fire alarms?
Beep, beep.
That is amazing, guys.
Later.
Harmful.
Oh my goodness. So
Quadraphonic.
the same spirit or star family is with Greg and Victoria at the same time.
The picker, there it is.
Some of them act like children.
Now, if you were to give me a name for Beep Beep,
Inquisitive.
what would that name be? Who are you?
Small.
Who are you?
Can you see them now? They're in the corners.
Can you give me your name? The one that said beep beep?
It's exact.
Hello. Are you watching us?
I'm trying to. I know my spirit guides, my star family is. And I love you.
The garden.
They get excited when we say
There's
yes.
somebody touching me. It's not the cat. So
Nancy, are you touching Victoria?
They want to be friends.
it's Stan, the mom.
Stan? Can you give me the name of who's touching Victoria? Stan, Nancy,
Visit.
or Stephen? Is it Stan? Stan, can you please come forward?
It's great to start.
The man, Adam.
The program.
Is there an Adam as well? You mentioned the garden.
I'll sign up.
Oh, we love you.
Hey.
Hi. How are you? Can you tell me where the garden is?
Whoa. I don't know what that was, but
Wow. There's more coming now.
They are. There's a lot more coming.
Ooh. Why now?
I'd like to say welcome
It's
to
me.
everyone that's with Victoria and Greg. And we love you.
A test.
It's an amazing test.
It's mine.
What's yours? The test?
They're saying I'm late.
You're just in
Bring
time.
me, Reggie, when it's time.
We're here.
Oh, I thought my name came through on Greg's and it was him talking. I'm going to take a guess that it's about time.
Like a frog.
I'm loving it. You guys are amazing. I'm about ready to message Greg. And thank you for coming and communicating with us.
Help.
What are you needing help with? Thank you so much
Can
for
you see
coming
it?
forward.
Very, very
Into the
bright.
room.
I don't
They're all in
think
bed. All want to come on to talk.
And they sure are. You got them sent. Absolutely. I love you.
It's open now.
How do you turn it
Trying to
off?
get Greg. Greg didn't see my Facebook. Hold on.
It just opened.
There
I
was
know it did.
something. It went over several channels. It happened 2 or 3 times. It sounded like an angelic chorus. It's the only thing I could think of. It was music. It was so. I don't know what that was.
Man, I was loving that.
My cat was freaking out.
This was so amazing.
Why?
I'm sitting here trying to find Greg's. Hold on a second. Man, that's so awesome.
There was
so
something touching my
After
behind,
you.
and I thought it was the cat. That's why I kept reaching back there, but the cat's on the ground. So
No more.
no more touching my behind. That's right.
Thank you for being with us,
Go back.
trying to get Greg's attention.
Step on them.
Do you have his phone number? Maybe his phone would vibrate.
That's what I'm. It's not going through. It should in a minute here.
I'm not worried about that part.
Your call has been forwarded to an
Oh,
Okay.
Was
Okay, I
Toby
think-
going crazy, Donna? He was really hitting the
Man,
bottom of my area.
coolest thing ever. I'm waiting for Greg to. Man, I didn't, but I wasn't prepared. I didn't write nothing down. It's all by memory.
Did
But
anything sync up?
yeah, it was so funny. Greg, can you hear me yet?
Yeah.
You said, Victoria, you go, this is just one thing. You said beep beep. And I
Yeah.
said, are you the one? I said, are you the
I
one
just
setting off
lost you.
Victoria's smoke alarms?
There
And
you
then, and I mean, 2 seconds later, Greg goes beep beep.
Oh my God.
2 seconds after I said, did you set off the fire alarms at Victoria's? After you said beep beep, Greg said beep beep. And then I sent like all my Star family in, and you guys started talking. And then you, Victoria, there was one point where you went, oh, I don't know what that was. And like
That
2
was-
seconds late, 2 seconds later, Greg goes, whoa.
Were you seeing them?
No, it sounded like it because it would go over several channels, and it was like,
Yeah, but I mean, but were they around you?
no, something kept touching my behind, and I thought Toby jumped in the chair because I'm not all the way back, and that's why I kept reaching back, and then he's on the ground hitting my feet. So I don't know what was going on here, but
I
was pretty
asked Stan, Nancy, Steven, and Adam if they touched you,
I just lost
but
you.
I didn't really get a response. You mentioned something about a garden, and I said, "Are you Adam from the garden?"
oh,
And I didn't get anything after that. But man, that was kind of neat. I'm gonna have to watch a replay of this because I wish I could hear what you guys were hearing. Oh man. But that beep beep thing was enough for me. I was like, whoa.
What
I
was
couldn't
it?
believe it. I mean, you know what I'm talking about, Greg? When you said
Yeah, I
beep-
know exactly. I know exactly what you're talking about. Did you hear
she
it, Victoria?
said Victoria said beep beep, and then I got to thinking about the fire alarm story, and I asked, "Are you the one that was setting off Victoria's fire alarms?" And then right after I asked that, you said beep beep, Greg. It was like bam bam bam, was that quick. And when Victoria said, "Ooh, I don't know what that was," it was not 3 seconds later, Greg, you go, whoa. Like you heard something.
Donna said, Reggie Randall, did you ask my question? My internet went completely out to here asking.
I did ask every question that came up there.
Okay. Victoria or Anne Marie Young said angels.
Right.
That's
was
what it
funny.
sounded like.
This was right after I sent all my Star family in. I said, would you guys go be with Victoria and Greg and make sure everybody can talk well through them? And then like not even 10, 15 seconds went by and one of you said angels. And I said, that's right. It's Star Family. And man, this is so cool.
Intuition felt like a boy's birthday party at first. And at the very beginning, Greg Koss got emotional.
I asked if there was
I-
a birthday of some sort.
I have no idea. I couldn't tell you. I have no idea what I say.
No, I don't know the name of the spirit.
You what?
Unfortunately, there's a question that says, "Do I know the name of the spirit that was touching the fire detector?" No, but there are 5 fire detectors in this tiny little house. There's only one in front of my bedroom door, and they're all synced. So if one goes off, they're all supposed to go off, and it was only the one in front of my bedroom door.
Oh,
it was going
somebody's
So,
playing around, huh?
Well, yeah, the first night I moved in, and it was straight up at midnight. I don't lie because I can't remember the lies if I tell them. So, but the very first night I was here alone, no cat, just me and my air mattress. Straight up at midnight, my smoke alarm went off. And I'm like, oh hell no, we're not doing this. I don't even have anything to climb on to get it. And then it just did that one time. But I don't know.
I hope you have a bed now, don't you?
I do. I'm a very tall. I need a staircase to get on the bed. It's so freaking tall.
That's cool. Those are nice. Those are the ones you can bounce up and down on.
No,
Right?
I
Have you done that with the kitty? Go, woo, woo, woo.
I used to bounce on the bed, but no, not anymore. No, once I got over like 2 feet tall, it was no longer.
I
could do.
one of my nephews, they had bunk beds in the room, and they used to bounce up and down on the top bunk. And we were downstairs, and all of a sudden we heard this crash, and we heard this scream. And we ran up the stairs, and one of my, it would be my nephew, he had gone ahead and jumped so high that he stuck his head through the drywall, and he was hanging.
Oh, no. Is he okay?
And his brother was laughing like crazy. And we got up there, and my brother went up there and grabbed him because he's a lot bigger than I am. One head reached up and grabbed him, just gave him a big yank. And there was drywall dust in his face and his nose, and it was crazy.
That'll learn you. No.
You don't jump on double bunk beds like that. It gets crazy. So you do a lot of Estes methods.
Not a lot. I just talk to people. So, I mean, I've done a few. I don't really hear that well. So I could hear like an undertone, and I could hear words, but I couldn't hear what they were saying. And then
No, you're using buds. You're using buds though. So if you want to something like this, where it's going to totally
sound cancel.
Eliminate anything that's in the room or anything like that, then I always pick up little words that come through that are not part of what you actually hear.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said earlier, that's part of the channeling to me.
Yeah,
because when people go ahead and talk about what we say, I really don't have a clue.
I couldn't tell you. I do remember the beep beep, but But because it made me laugh. I'm like, what's going beep beep? Is that a commercial that's just went through real quick, or is it?
No, that was weird. Something was going on.
All right. If my smoke alarm goes off tonight, I'm calling both of you.
Take the batteries out, Victoria.
They're wired. It's wired to the house. I mean, and I just put new batteries in.
Cut the wires, and then when it goes off, then you really got something.
I'm only renting. No, they did start when we were going. Oh, we were going to a brothel. Like we always do. We were going to a brothel, and this is maybe 2 months ago. My alarm started going off. I was like, I can't leave the cat here all weekend with smoke alarms going off. So a friend of mine came over and changed it. And the batteries were still fresh. He took them out and he goes, here, put this battery on your tongue. I'm like, what kind of weird person are you? I'm not putting a battery on my tongue. And he's like, no, these still have charges. They shouldn't be, dying. But he put brand new batteries in all the smoke alarms. They better not go off.
What was that?
I just thought I'd turn it on. So did you guys go over there with Victoria and Greg?
Yeah. They say yeah.
Hi. How are you doing?
Did you drive Victoria and Greg crazy?
No, Toby is very. The cat has totally calmed down. But he was.
How many are here with us right now?
So who is the Facebook user again? James Brown.
Did you say 12? Well, for those of you that went to go see Victoria and Greg, thank you so much.
Anytime they want, I'll be here. They can find me wherever I am, even if I'm in the boat with two other guys. Don't worry about them. They may jump out of the boat when they see you, but that's okay.
Are you guys listening to Greg? I can't hear him too well. Hi. I love you. I think you guys are amazing.
Yeah. Thank you very much. It was awesome. You don't have to scream.
That was an I love you in kind of a scream form.
Come back whenever you want.
Hey, can any of you... Hi. Can any of you share with us what star system you are from? What star system are you from? Where are you from?
I thought I heard 80s. And what's that deep voice doing in there again?
The deep one.
That's
No
not
prime talk.
Prime. It's not. Was that Prime? That's Prime. There he is.
Whoa.
That's Prime. That's Prime. You hear that? They
What
want
about
you.
the Sentinel? Oh, did you say a Sentinel? Luther, what did you just say?
He's my brother.
It was
Victoria needs some guides. She needs a couple sentinels at her front door to protect her.
Can you guys do me a favor?
Did you hear that? Did you know that?
Would you do me a favor? And if you're able to tell me, can you give me the name of the spirit that is
Did
with
you hear what-
Victoria?
Did you hear what it said? It said we just did it.
That's why this is so cool, because it's
Who is with Victoria?
Can you ask?
the two sentinels. She has guards on her door now.
Right. Can you ask if my dad's around here? Why is my dad around here?
Did you hear that, Reg?
No, not very well.
Victoria wants to know if her dad, since her dad's around, why he's there.
Why?
Yes.
Why is there a spirit there with Victoria?
Her father.
There's direct answers that I'm not real clear on what they're saying in real time. Just so you guys.
Victoria's wondering why her father is here.
Hey, who just called me an earthling?
Hey.
What's up with that? I'm one of you guys. What? Oh, I love you guys so much.
So can you get serious and ask that question about Victoria's dad?
About why they're with Victoria?
Yeah, why her father's here with her.
Your father is there? And you want to know why?
No, we weren't close, so
Hold on one
I don't know
second.
why he's here.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, we were not close. And he died 2 years ago. Like a few weeks ago was the anniversary. And I've seen him 6 times. So why is he here if we weren't connected really. We weren't close.
She says, Carol Garcia says, I just heard in my head that he's watching over you, Victoria.
Well, in spirit, if they go to the light, they're enlightened, and sometimes they feel bad for their mistakes. You know what I mean? And so, what's his name?
Clarence, or they called him CJ.
CJ.
You're gonna make me cry now.
Clarence. I'm asking for Clarence that is with Victoria. Clarence, are you here with me? Why are you with Victoria, Clarence? Can you tell me that? I'm not asking that like you're not welcome or anything, but why are you with Victoria, Clarence?
Is it?
Clarence, if you're here, can you say your name for me?
Hands.
There's another lady that says the same thing as protection.
What's your name?
Wasn't that CJ? Didn't that say CJ?
I thought it said Ciara, which is my daughter's name.
Hi. How are you? Can you give me your name again? Hi. How are you? I think several are coming forward to talk to me all at once.
They got to come forward.
Hi.
Soldier.
We love you.
Avery. Who's Avery? We got about 5 minutes.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna shut this off. Okay. That's okay.
CJ, say hello.
You guys can hang out with me anytime you want to. Is there anything else you want to say before I shut this off? Anything else? All right, I'm going to shut this off. I love you. Bye. Love you.
Crazy Catherine.
I think she had it right the first time. Now, my dad walked out and left us when I was 8. So, I tried, but
Oh.
I forgave him. But, there's no need to come around now. I'm okay.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Do you know Crazy Catherine?
I do. She's in the Southern Fried Chicken Paranormal.
It's that chicken again.
Hey, Crazy Catherine. How you
She's
doing?
awesome. Yeah.
Glad to meet you guys.
They're a good group. So y'all
Good
need
group.
to come down to visit Texas. Come to the jails when it's 102 inside.
That's Reggie's been to Texas. I haven't. The last time I was in Texas was Houston in 1971.
I was there.
I was in Fort Polk, Louisiana, and I went from there. I had to go all the way over to Houston to get a flight home.
Yep.
Sometime in the future here, we're moving there.
To Houston or Texas? Don't go to Houston.
Well, to El Paso.
Okay. Yeah. I love West Texas. It's so nice and open and it's historical. And who doesn't love the Wild West and all that stuff going on out there? And but once you have to get away from the big cities.
You got to get a 6-shooter.
I always have the guns.
And
Ask Catherine.
A couple of bandoleros across your chest with bullets.
Really, I told Greg I was going down to the square to take some pictures, and he goes, "Take guns." I'm like, "Guns? I don't know guns." There's nobody out, It's after
Well,
8:30.
it's a trigger object, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be to some people, some ghosts?
Well, I just wanted a picture. I mean, because while we were at the jail, I was taking pictures, and I'd stop, because it was dark, and I would focus, and I would take a picture with my camera, and they were all perfect except for one was all swirly and blue. I'm like, what the heck? And so I went back, whatever night it was, Sunday night. They did it again. I was like, where is this blue coming from? Because I would understand if it was refracting.
Oh, I saw that. I saw
color.
that. You posted that.
Not the blue one, I don't think. But I would understand if it was the color of the jail, but then it was like all this blue was going through like lines and stuff. I'm like, I don't know where that came from. But anyway,
They were flying through there.
I guess so. It's, late. They have to go home too.
Oh yeah.
Well, do you want to mention everywhere that everybody in the chat and then that's listening tonight can find you?
I guess Facebook. You can always find me on Victoria Monday's Paranormal
You go like
Activities.
this. You go like this.
Yeah.
She's over there.
About dinner time. Where's she at? So you can find me there. I'm on Twitter once a day. I pop in just to say hey. That V Monday, just Victoria, V for Victoria. Or I do have a website, but I don't know how the email works. But you can go to the website. There's a lot of fun stuff there. There's some interviews that we did on Edge of the Rabbit Hole and some little videos I made. It tells all about my books. Nothing cat related.
That's something we forgot to mention, and we've got a few minutes. Why don't you mention your books? Because really, that's part of you.
I'll tell the abbreviated version. So my husband died about a long time ago, early 2000s. And I decided I want to start dating again. So I was going online and finding eligible bachelors, and so they would ask, like, oh, hey, what do you like? And I'm like, I'm not going to tell you what I like, like, what do you do for fun? I'm like, I'm not going to tell you what I do for fun. Because as soon as you start telling somebody, I go out to haunted brothels and I talk to dead people. They're like, okay, well, it was nice meeting you. And they hang out. And so, and so there's this one man who was really interesting. And so I finally, fessed up and said, well, okay, I go to haunted brothels and I talk to dead people and, I do that kind of stuff. And he's like, what? That's really cool. Like, finally, fish on the hook. I'm reeling them in, and so I started telling him about some of the stories and some of the adventures, if you want to call them that, because I don't believe in the scary, spooky stuff. Life is scary and spooky enough as it is. I don't want any of that. And he's like, you need to write a book. And I'm like, what am I going to do? There's nothing scary. I'm not going to write a scary book when there's nothing scary. I could write a book and call it Victoria Monday's Paranormal Activities and make it a coloring book or something. And then I was like, hey, that's a pretty good idea. So I have a series of 6 books, and they're all called Victoria Monday's Paranormal Activities. And they have anything that's related to the paranormal or esoteric world. So there's things you can color and puzzles and drawings and word searches and scrambles and stuff like that. And then I made some kids' books. So, there's nothing spooky in those. It's all like, I'm going to go trick-or-treating. So I'm going to be a vampire. And it's a little kid dressed like a vampire. And it's got puzzles and stuff that are age appropriate. And then I made so that was like books 1 through 4. So the 5th book is called Stepping Beyond the Veil. And that's when I started getting a little bit more serious because I quit joking around somewhat, not much. So that's got like sacred numbers and sacred geometry and mandalas and things like that. And still, again, relating to the esoteric world. And then the last book I did is called The Awakening. And that was for my witchy friends. And so that has a do-it-yourself grimoire. It tells all about candle magic, plant magic, herb magic, what are the 4 elements and all that kind of stuff. And then I decided I was going to go nonfiction. And so I wrote this cute little book, My Night in the Most Haunted Hotel in Texas. It tells all about when I stayed in the most haunted hotel in Texas by myself accidentally. And, there were things in there, locked in an armoire of death. And I found a secret staircase and, it's just fun stuff in there. And I saw some spooky people, and there was a shadow person banging on my door one morning, and things that were going knocking on the table when I was there alone. So you can find all those on Amazon, and like the kids' books are on parenting.com and stuff like that. But yeah, who knows?
That's awesome.
Oh, thank you.
That's really awesome. So everybody, go on Amazon, find Victoria, and go ahead and buy a book.
Yeah. Or you could just go to victoriamundae.com and there's links to everything. And it's got some of the little clips. I'm kind of notorious for sticking my foot in my mouth. Accidentally, of course.
It's been great. It's been really great having you on.
Oh, thank you guys. It's been great.
I know that, Reggie, say something.
Yeah, it was
Please.
awesome.
Yeah.
I do a lot more listening than I do talking. You know that usually,
Well,
unless I'm going off about something. But
that's amazing. It's this really made my night tonight.
Oh,
And
thank you.
I know it made everybody else's too, probably.
Oh, you guys are gonna make me cry. Stop it.
No, don't. There's no tears, sir. There's no crying. There's no
Happy
crying.
tears. Happy
There's
tears.
no crying in podcasts.
Yes, there is.
You trying
Can't
to
tell you how
quote-
many times.
you trying to quote Tom Hanks in A League of Their Own? There's no crying in baseball.
No crying
I
in
can't
bed.
tell you how many times I've cried in the podcast. You know, there was
Oh.
always
Yeah.
something in there.
Well, we're here for you, and once again, you know us both. And if there's ever anything that you need to talk about or need,
Oh, thank you. I
drop us
appreciate
a line.
And
Okay.
I wanted to throw it out there to Carol Garcia. I was talking to Greg the other day about bringing the Thursday show back to the basics again. So there's going to be a lot more live sessions.
Yeah.
And so, because we kind of drifted away from it a little bit,
Okay.
but having guests are amazing too. Human guests. I mean, and so, but I want to bring back Mickey Mantle and a few of those guys back to our show again, and so
Ooh,
yeah, oh yeah. So
awesome.
we'll be doing that again for sure sometime
Okay.
soon. There's Miss Carol saying,
Okay,
yay.
everybody. And she also said, she's bringing over from Shaman Sundays and Brandon Cooper, Remember to Smile. Thank you very much, Carol. That's awfully nice of you to add it over here. And it's a good thought. So everybody, you guys in the comments, have a great evening. It's been great having you here tonight. And this is my last show till I come back. So we'll see you guys all in about maybe 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. I'll be back in August. So I'll be thinking about everybody, and and you guys all have a wonderful time wherever you're at. And Victoria, once again, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. Love you
Okay,
both.
guys, have a good evening. We love you.
Love
Right.
you.